We are so back. We are so back. My fellow Favrneel enjoyers, this is what we've waited for. Bushiroad have just announced new support for Favrneel, and this time it's looking real good. I'm not talking about the usual bind from soul plus 5k front row, blah, swing, and then put to soul and then retire something. No, I'm talking about a new ride line, a new soul support, and now we have a jumper. We have a jumper. We have a jumper. There's no need to play Astroa, there's no need to play Almagestar and Gamba for OG Favrneel in deck anymore. This is huge. And best yet, they are not promos. They are not promos. We had Eligos that countercharges one. We had Hrodis that gives Persona right by banning itself. We have the Grade 2 that actually nobody uses anymore as it becomes a Grade 4 that gives 5k front row. This is legitimately game changing for Favrneel. Okay, yeah, you might not care, it's tier 5, blah blah blah. But this is my tier 5. This is my tier 5. Right, first up, boys. Boys and girls, we got Purgatory Foreign Lord, Myrmes? Okay. So it's a grade 1 common, it's a ride line. So now you don't have to play whatever you had previously. For me, I did play the Almagestar ride line at some point. I tried with Bruce. I even tried with, I forgot what was it, I think it was Omina at some point, or no, it was the old Blindmire with Holoraptor, and it's kind of a Gamba. Okay, enough about that, boys. Right, the new grade 1 is huge because she becomes a grade 2 when you're on your grade 2. And best yet, you can choose to Soul Blast one instead of ditching. This is an issue that a lot of Favrneel players had, because you would often have to play Lemina, the Soul Blast one, put herself to bot deck to draw one, or the EB free cyclers. Now you technically would just need to ditch twice, and this card becomes great too afterwards. Alright, moving on, boys. I'm sorry if I'm stuttering. This is very big for me. I'm hella excited. I haven't talked in so long. Like in this is a shit ass presentation, but we move. Alright, grade 2 ride line, Purgatory Warrior, average. Notice that they had the name Purgatory, so keep this in mind. It's when a grade 3 card with Favrneel in this card invites this unit, you put a card from your hand into your soul and draw 2. This is huge. So previously, I have did a deck profile on Dear Days 2, which is pretty much the deck I use in real life. So I utilized the Almagestar promo and buy Franz to fetch some more cards in the early game, because Favrneel doesn't really draw cards until you hit Favrneel himself, which is basically the meme of CB2 and draw 1, which is just CB2 and -1 drive. So now you get more chance to put something in soul and draw 2. So you have more control of your soul, which previously you did not have control of your soul in the early game, because you usually go into Holoraptor or Almagestar right line, or even Bruce, and you soul charge some random card, probably an OT. But now you get to control it, and you even draw 2, which is huge. Alright, moving on is our first non-common, is a grade 2 single rare. This is game changing, boys. This is game changing, ladies and gentlemen. First thing that it does, when you ditch it during your ride phase, it goes to soul. What else can I say? What else can I say? And then in soul, if you're on Favrneel, any Favrneel, you can bind him and choose one of the following. First one is you go to Rain Gold. You search your deck for Rain Gold. I don't have to draw him anymore. I don't have to play him as my Vanguard anymore. I can just play the OG Favrneel. So let me put it this way. So your grade 3 will be the original one of FFR Favrneel, of course, definitely. And then you would use Favrneel first to, let your opponent pop something, and then you put one to have from hand to soul and draw 1. And then you use this guy to jump into Rain Gold. But of course, if you did this at the same turn you rode the OG Favrneel, you cannot activate Persona. However, yeah, I don't know, the motorbike passed by, who the fucking cares, okay. However, if you did not ride that turn, it's kind of like Hrodis, where you bind itself to activate Persona, but The difference is Rhodis requires you to ditch one to activate Persona Right. Well, this guy, a single rare by the way, not a fucking promo, just requires you to bind him and activate Persona. Yeah, of course you cannot stack up your Rhodis, but you get my point. Alright boys, moving on. We have the first double rare for Favrneel. The new one, of course. Alright, so it's a 15k attacker when you're on Favrneel, and then it has a skill. If your Vanguard is Purgatory, which is your rideline, and Favrneel, so you can kind of proc him during your grade 2 turn if you wanna swing for early. Because this guy doesn't require you to swing Van, but you can just swing rear if you somehow need it. Okay, you put him into soul to draw one. Huge for Favrneel enjoyers. Huge. Because remember, Favrneel needs 13 grades in soul, so this guy really speeds up your grade count. And then the third skill, this is due to Favrneel, which is when your Favrneel is attacked, and if you have 13 grades in soul, you bind him from soul, and opponent gets minus 10k. But keep in mind, you cannot bind a card with the same card name as this card during this turn. So it's effectively, from what I understood so far, it's technically unwritten once per turn. This is huge. Favrneel struggles defensively because you would need some time to survive until you hit Rain Gold, and by then you pretty much lose a lot to early game rushers. Just practically anything that rushes you down at turn 1 and turn 2, and you wouldn't start with so much shield because you would need to fill up your soul at the same time. So this really solves one of the issue of not having enough shield to guard. Lastly, boys, we have a triple rare for Favrneel. He looks sick. He looks like some dragon out of Skyrim, but he looks hella cool. He looks like the skeletal dragon from the College of Winterhold questline. Alright, here we go, boys. If your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater Favrneel, this, I don't know, I'm just saying, grade 4 Favrneel, you never know. Okay, he gains all of the following. Okay, the first one, you get to bind him from soul, and then you call something that is less than or equal to your Vanguard, which is anything you had at the moment. Remember, it doesn't require you to it requires you to have Favrneel, so basically any grade 3 or lower. And then it's an unwritten once per turn as well, so you can only use him for the bind to call something from soul, and then that's a once per turn. The second one, however, boys and girls, is when you swing, remember, swing anything. It's like I think it's like, it was like Rhodis, I think. Yeah, I think Rhodis is required to attack Vanguard, but Eligos, the countercharger, requires you to swing Van, put one to soul to countercharge. Okay, this one requires you to have 13 grades in soul, classic Favrneel, and then your Vanguard becomes 18k base. 18k base. Okay, the issue with Favrneel most of the time is you're sitting on 13, 23, 33. So you're not hitting those quote-unquote magic numbers. You want so if with 18k and then say with your Rain Gold skill and Persona, you will be sitting at 38k on Rain Gold alone before any boosters, which means that this kind of beats the typical 1-2 pass. If you're at 23 and they're at and they just gird to 15k, so it's 28. Yeah, this really beats the whole thing. And then at the end of the battle that this guy attack, you put him into soul, choose something, pop something, and CC1. So it's basically a better Eligos, but the only difference is that Eligos puts something into soul, so it kind of clears the board. Well, not really. I mean this guy also clears himself, but sometimes you want to put something else into soul with Eligos. No matter what that is, unless I don't know what you guys are cooking with, but this guy does a better job than Eligos. So I'd say, I haven't thought about the deck list yet, but personally I think if I do have 4 copies of him, I might not play Eligos. I need to find out, factor in and find out. But so far, this is a very much better improvement than Eligos. Okay, this is hella stonks. Okay, it's tier 5, it's tier 6, tier 7, I don't care. It's my tier 5. I love this deck. This is literally the card that I bought when I was struggling in my internship back in my bachelor's degree. Okay, that's too much to talk about. But yeah, I love this deck. I just love the deck, and I haven't seen someone else who actually played this deck in like 4 or 5 years. I don't know, like yeah, for ever since the release of Favrneel, I have never ever heard or seen someone play Favrneel or just as enthusiastic, borderline autistic as I am. Okay, if you know someone, if it's you, we're on the same boat, boys. Alright, TLDR. I'm gonna put the timestamp in the video. So, hello for those who skipped the video. Just a quick TLDR, you can read this here. So, the new grade 1 ride line, it gets +1 grade in Soul if 5 is on Vanguard, and you can pay with Soul +1 to go to grade 2. When the grade 2 is voted upon by Favrneel, you put a card to Soul to draw 2 cards. The new single rare, it's a grade 2. It's when ditch, it goes to Soul, and then it's Jumper to Rain Gold, while also being able to activate Persona, right? Just like for this, but you cannot activate for this. So just one. It's either one of those. So technically, you have 11 personas. You have 3 from Rain Gold, you have 4 from Rodis, and you have 4 from the new guy. So I have 11. So I don't know if that's overkill, but I'll let that be your decision. The new grade 2 doubler is a 15k swing. It's a 15k attacker. When Favrneel is on Vanguard, it can put itself to Soul if your Vanguard is Purgatory. Mind you, Purgatory is the grade 1 and 2 ride line in this case, and to draw 1. And then it's able to bind itself to give opponent 10k when Favrneel is attack. It's an unwritten once per turn, and it requires 13 grades. And then lastly, the new grade 3 triple rare can bind itself from Soul if Favrneel is Vanguard to call something from drop. It's also an unwritten once per turn and makes Favrneel an 18k base until end of turn. Just keep in mind, until the end of turn. It's not until the end of the game, which I would love to, but okay. Requires 13 grades, and then it puts itself to Soul after attacking to CC1. I am so high on dopamine. I am so high on adrenaline. It felt so good, boys. This is very, very cool, right? That is for me so far. I'm sorry if there's some motorcycles passing by. I don't have a better mic. But yeah, any Babarneel enjoyers, let me know. That was all for me. Thank you guys. You have a great day. Wee wee wee.